The next way employers will violate or commit wage theft is not paying overtime. So overtime is being paid time and a half whenever you work over 40 hours in a work week. So for example, if you work 45 hours in a work week, you'd be entitled to 5 hours of overtime. So how do employers violate the overtime laws? Well, again, there's three main ways that they do this. There's the simplest way, which is they just don't pay you the overtime, which Giovanna touched on. You might have worked 45 hours in the week, you're entitled to 5 hours of overtime pay, but they'll just keep paying you the same amount of money for each hour that you work. So that's the simplest way that it occurs. The second way that it occurs is being paid by the day or by the job. Under the system, you get a lump sum payment for each of the days or whatever job you do. And the problem occurs where you don't keep track of the hours that you're working and the employer doesn't keep track of the hours that you're working. And this is a problem because by law, your employer has to pay you an overtime premium on top of those lump sums if you worked over 40 hours in a work week. But if you haven't kept track of your hours, you can't calculate your regular rate of pay. You can't figure out what your overtime rate is. So whenever we find that people are working under this system, we tell them, call us, bring in your pay records, and we'll go through it with you, because most likely you're being a victim of wage theft. There's usually always a violation there. So that's the second way that overtime laws are violated. And the third way we see a lot is by what's called misclassification. And under misclassification, an employer will classify you as an independent contractor instead of as an employee. So an independent contractor is somebody that's in business for themselves, right? They're not entitled to minimum wage, overtime, unemployment insurance, workers' compensation, social security benefits. But if you're an employee, you are entitled to all those benefits. But that's one of the reasons employers don't want to pay you as an employee. It costs them more money. So they classify you as an independent contractor. But they don't just have the freedom to make that decision. If your employer can exercise a lot of control over how you do your job, then you're not an independent contractor. For example, if they tell you, what time you have to be there, when to leave, breaks to take, what tools to use, the procedures to do the job, if you're not allowed to hire somebody to help you, then you are most likely not an independent contractor. So what do you do? How do you check to make sure that you're classified correctly? Well, there's two things an employee can do. The first, again, is look at your paycheck. And if there's no taxes deducted from your paycheck, then you're most likely classified as an independent contractor. And the second way is you're going to get a 1099 tax form at the end of the year. You should get one. You should get some tax form. And if they give you a 1099, they're definitely classifying you as an independent contractor. So if you find ththose things are happening, you need to go to your employer and say, why am I classified under this system? And if you don't like the answer you get, you have resources that you can reach out to.